Fox squirrels. One of the most majestic animals found at Michigan State University. Getting their name from their bushy tail and orange-red fur, fox squirrels are seen all around. Squirrels are one of the most widespread taxa in the world, inhabiting every continent aside from Antarctica and Australia. Fox squirrels here on campus are found at the most adventurous end of the spectrum, often seen coming to humans for food. Are all squirrels this way, you may ask? We're here to expose the truth. Humans are found everywhere on the Michigan State campus. They are most often seen biking, walking, and running. When humans aren't seen going between classes, they can sometimes be seen feeding the adventurous squirrels. This interaction between squirrels and humans led the little Einsteins to come up with an experiment to determine if off-campus squirrels were this willing to come up to humans. The purpose of this experiment is to determine if squirrels on campus are more likely to react a certain way when approached by humans walking, running, and biking compared to squirrels off campus. We predict that squirrels on campus are more likely to respond passively or not at all when approached by 3 different methods compared to off-campus squirrels that are more likely to respond actively. The experiment starts out at Beaumont Tower, here at Michigan State University. Beaumont Tower was chosen due to the high population of both squirrels and humans. Bikers, runners, and walkers can constantly be seen moving through on the different trails. This constant movement and human versus squirrel interaction creates the ideal experiment area with plenty of observation targets. The squirrels will be observed for 1 hour, and this observation will be repeated 3 times. The type of response the squirrel has will be categorized as no response, passive, or active. These responses will be based on 3 types of approaches: walking, running, and biking. To start out, walkers were observed. It was predicted that there would be no response by the squirrels for a majority of the time. Upon observing, it was found that most squirrels were not bothered by walkers. Often the squirrel would look up to see what the movement was but then would quickly go back to foraging or eating. Occasionally a squirrel would have an active response and run away, but for the vast majority of time, the squirrels didn't seem to mind the walkers. After walkers were watched, runners were observed. Running was mostly based upon gait and not the speed at which they were running. It was predicted that the squirrels would most often have a passive response, which means that they would often scurry away but stop abruptly once they felt they were at a safe distance. Upon observation, it was found that squirrels almost always responded actively, which was different than predicted. Active responses meant they ran away to climb up a tree or hide in the bushes. We believe this might have happened due to the louder sound that the runners make when their feet hit the ground. Finally, bikers were observed. It was predicted that squirrels would most often have an active response because bikers would be the fastest moving object they encounter. After observing the squirrels and bikers, it was found that most often the squirrels would respond passively. After watching most squirrels have a passive response, we believe the speed at which the animal is approached may have some say in how they react. They are scared when the biker first approaches, but then they quickly realize they aren't a threat because they left so fast. The next portion of the experiment takes place outside of beautiful Wells Hall. Walkers were again observed outside Wells Hall. We predicted that similar to Beaumont Tower, most squirrels would not react at all. After observing for 1 hour, it was found that nearly all squirrels did not react, with just a few reacting passively. Runners were also observed with a prediction that most would react passively. Upon observation, it was found that a good majority of the squirrels reacted passively, but reacted actively just as often. Our prediction for running outside of Wells Hall was confirmed, but it wasn't as statistically significant as we had hoped. Finally, bikers were observed outside of Wells Hall. It was predicted that most squirrels would react actively. Contrary to Beaumont Tower, our prediction was confirmed. Unlike Beaumont, most of the squirrels responded actively and seemed to be more frightened by the bikes. The last portion of our experiment was conducted in an off-campus area known as Ferguson Park. Ferguson Park is known for having some of the world's largest squirrels. The biggest squirrel having ever existed can be found there now. He is known as Frat Squirrel. When Frat Squirrel isn't seen hitting up all the parties, he can often be found foraging for food or climbing trees. Frat Squirrel's fears included running, biking, and rejection. He is also terribly annoyed by walkers. His feelings strongly match other squirrels found at Ferguson Park, but, being as emotional as he is, he was the only one comfortable enough to share his feelings on camera. Similar to on-campus squirrels, most off-campus didn't react significantly when passed by walkers. Off-campus squirrels reacted actively to nearly every runner that passed, often running to the woods. Bikers also triggered an active response, often forcing the squirrels to run to the nearest street to hide. Although some of our hypotheses were verified, others were contradicted. Overall, it was determined that there is a distinct difference between on-campus squirrel behavior and off-campus behavior. The end.